Hi there, and welcome to your practice. My name is Alan. Today we will do yoga for inner thighs. So, when it comes to inner thighs, this is probably the sides from coming from the sides of your knees all the way to your groin area. And this is to address when it comes to tightness around the hips, the hip flexors, maybe as well as the tightness around the um, external thighs. Now, when it comes to internal thighs, this is more of maybe there's a contraction when it comes to your calf muscles. Maybe there's too much contraction around the quads. So we'll try to relax this a bit by, lengthening it through flow. So when you're ready, go ahead, sit on your Virasana, your thunderbolt pose. So you'll be sitting on your heels, maybe big toes together, then have your knees slightly apart, right? So when you're ready, just land your palms gently on your lap. And we'll start with grounding and tuning into our breaths. Inhale to your nose. Exhale slowly to your nose. Inhale to your nose. Exhale to your nose. Inhale to your nose. Exhale to your nose. Now go ahead, come back to your center. We will gently introduce the straddle. So moving forward, you may face the long side of your mat or maybe the short side of the mat. At this point, I'm facing the camera so you can check where the knees and the toes are. So with your hands or your palms planted on the ground, begin to spread your knees apart and then pulling your hips to the back. At this point, you might already feel that stretch coming from your inner thighs. And we're trying to pull down your your hips rather. So this is how it looks like. And what you're trying to do is tilting your hips out, okay? So keep pressing outwards with your hips tilted. One more breath. Now this time we're gonna lower down, we're gonna walk forward. And you notice that this is already a deeper stretch with your inner thighs. If this is so much or it is too tight at this point, you may grab a pillow. So, you're gonna grab a pillow and then you're gonna place yourself on top of it, right? And at this point, this allows the relaxation of your belly on top of your pillow. But you're gonna focus on the straddle. So you're spreading your knees apart, right? And this allows your hips to tilt naturally out. Yeah? And you may rest your belly against the pillow. If the pillow is too thin, you might still have problems. So go grab a thicker bolster or a pillow to support yourself. Stay here for a while. One last breath. Slowly inhale, walk your hands back under your shoulders, and then maybe turn your toes under as you push yourself up to your tabletop. Okay? So from here, let me just place the pillow aside. And this time, we're going to go down to a Malasana, a yogi squat. So how do you do this? So find your Tadasana, feet together or feet hip width apart. Then slowly bring your heels out, toes out, heels out, toes out. With the toes 10 degrees slightly externally out, begin to pull your hips down as you sit down. So some of us would have their heels naturally on the floor. Some of us will have heels lifted. At this point, if your heels are lifted, then find your blocks. So go ahead, grab your blocks, and then placing them at the back to support your heels, your feet. And at this point, this is already opening your hips, extending your legs apart, and staying here for a while. Notice that this is a little bit of a yin yoga because we're staying longer, or a little bit of hatha. So we're focusing, instead of a flow, we're focusing on a pose, on an asana, and then just staying here for a bit. Allowing the lengthening of a particular muscle group, and then shortening, that would be our external thighs at the back. One more breath here. Again, at this point, I can actually place and have my heels down. That's why it feels better. When you're ready, begin to plant your palms down on the ground. We're gonna lift our hips up. And as you try to microbend your knees, try to feel the stretch of your posterior chain, your entire back, as well as your calf muscles and your hamstrings. Now we're gonna go wider. Pull your heels out, toes out, heels out, toes out. Last one. Heels out, toes out. And then just stay here for a while. We're gonna end this flow or this practice with Skandasana, your side stretch. When you're ready, gaze forward. Begin to walk your hands towards your right foot, and then you're gonna bend your right knee as you pull your hips to the back. When you're ready, we're gonna sit down, the back of our right heel, and then fully extend our left leg with our left toes flexing all the way up. And you'll notice the lengthening of your left inner thighs. If this is too much at this point, maybe place a block right under your hip, and this would allow you to um, lessen the stress on your outer thigh on the right side. But this still feels the lengthening or the stretch of your left inner thigh. We're gonna switch on to the other side. When you're ready, bring your palms down right at the middle. We're gonna lift ourselves up back, plant both heels. Then we're gonna walk our hands towards your left foot. Begin to micro bend or bend your left knee a lot. And then slowly, you're gonna sit behind your left heel as you straighten the right leg. You're gonna flex your toe, right toes up. One more breath. And if you're asking if I need to lift my chest up, maybe, maybe not, because we're here focusing on the thighs instead of the lengthening of our torso. But of course, try not to round your back because it loosens the connection and therefore weakens the stability right this area. When you're ready, plant your palms down as you lift yourself up back to a standing forward fold. On your next inhale, look forward. You may pull your heels in, toes in, heels in, toes in. When you're ready, begin to lift your hips up to your forward fold. And maybe pull your heels in back again, toes in, heels in, toes in. Then roll your way all the way to the top, back to your Tadasana. Crossing your legs as we sit down. Whew. And that is already a full-on 10-minute practice for your inner thighs. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoy this flow. I'll see you again next time.